Hello and welcome to Property Box News. I'm Simon Evison. Last time I talked about how the political parties are likely to have housing high on their upcoming conference agendas. Something, no doubt, that will be celebrated by the government is that house building is at its highest level since 2008. Fresh figures from the Department of Communities and Local Government show that nearly 165,000 new homes were started in the year to June 2017. That's up 13% on the previous year and the highest rolling annual total since 2008. Over 153 new homes have been completed over the last year, 11% up on the year before. Housing and Planning Minister Alok Sharma said it's vital we maintain this momentum to deliver more quality homes in the places that people want to live. In the autumn statement, £1.4 billion was pledged to the affordable housing programme, increasing the total to £7.1 billion. However, we still can't celebrate. The numbers fall way short of the Barker Report's suggestion that 209,000 new homes need to be built every year in order to keep pace with changing demographics. And we've been well short of this figure every year since then. And remember, the Barker Report came out in 2006. So what next? How can the lack of housing be addressed? It's fair to say that a common theme among the opinions is that local authorities must be given a mandate by central government to build more housing. Local authority building in its heyday numbered 90,000 homes per year. Of course, we don't want to return to hideous high-rise and sinkhole estates. James Allen, head of Walker Cripps Alternative Investment, agrees and says, "While I do not advocate a return to 1960s type building schemes, a short-term 5-year plan to allow local authorities to borrow at cheap interest rates in order to rapidly address the housing shortage in target areas should not be considered political dogma. It is a sensible solution to a long-term crisis," he says. TV's Kevin MacLeod says councils could once again build social housing. In fact, they must. This government could yet repeal its poor legislation that curbs social housing building. He believes George Osborne's rent cap a few years ago stunted housing associations. They could not rely on rent being a large part of their balance sheet and, very quickly, had to pull out of building projects. Another solution the Grand Designs presenter thinks will go some way to help is in the self-build sector. He'd like to see the government come through with their promise that they would double the sector by 2020. The problem he sees is a lack of funding and limited amount of lenders willing to back a self-build project. He also cites the practice of land banking and archaic planning procedure as a major problem, as does journalist Rob Wilson, writing in The Telegraph recently. He says to make a difference, the government needs to help access sites that are currently land banked. Land banking, you'll remember, is when developers will buy up land, get planning permission to increase the value and sell it on, or hold the land until it goes up in value naturally. Supermarket chains, for example, are often big culprits, not only for the value but to prevent their rivals building in the area. Wilson goes on to say after a reasonable period of a few years, if land is not being built on, it should be available for compulsory purchase at the original purchase price. This would concentrate the mind of the developer, he says. On planning, he says objections by or through local planning authorities need to be time limited. If the land is already designated for any form of development, objections should not be allowed to happen indefinitely. The onus should be on local communities working towards solutions for housing, not simply opposition to it. As always, your comments are welcome, so please post your thoughts on how the housing crisis needs to be addressed in the section below. And finally, the quarterly digital tax system, Making Tax Digital, announced by former Chancellor George Osborne in 2015, has been delayed. It was announced in July. Research by thehouseshop.com shows that landlords were not in favour of the system, and in short, they showed that landlords would be spending up to 4 times as much on accountancy and bookkeeping, as well as the extra time involved, which of course would have had a major impact on those private landlords who are already under a lot of pressure managing multiple properties independently. Even though the government are claiming that this new tax system will help landlords know more about their tax payments, it will end up costing them a lot of money. For now, though, it's all on hold, and we'll keep a close eye on the developments with this story and keep you updated. That's all from me. Don't forget to like and share with colleagues, and please leave us a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Goodbye. and local government show that nearly alternative, you bugger, supermarket chains there. Oh, you sod. Yeah. So